Hi Drew, I'm Maddie and I'm your occupational therapy assistant and I'll be working with you today. So what we're going to be doing is some passive range of motion exercises. So my understanding is you had a right-sided stroke, but you're having left-sided deficits.
Yes.
Alright, so these exercises you're going to be doing with your caregiver and you'll go through them at the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and the hand. Alright? So what you're going to do is you're going to completely relax and I'm going to do the working. Okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stabilizing your joints and muscles and preventing you from stiffness. All right? So we'll get started. All right, so your stable hand is going to go up on her shoulder here, just like this. And then you're going to take your moving hand and you're going to come in here and you want to support her arm. And you're going to go right at her mid-arm there on her humerus. So what we're going to do is you bring the arm up to shoulder flexion and then you bring it back down. And you're going to rock with her so you don't hurt yourself. Up, back down. We're going to come up to shoulder flexion, back down, and then up again. All right, and then from shoulder flexion, we're going to go to shoulder extension. So we're going to go in the backwards motion. So you're going to go extend her arm back. So from flexion, bring it back down to her side, and extension. Back, extend, back. You're going to rock with her. Extend, back. One more time. There we go. All right, after shoulder extension, we're going to go into shoulder abduction. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring her arm out to her side. So we're going to start shoulder abduction, abduction, out to her side, and shoulder adduction, adduction, we're going to bring back into her body. Bring it out, back up. Do you feel comfortable?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Back in. Out to abduction, abduction, and back into adduction. Are you experiencing any pain?
No.
And when you ask that, you want to check their body language and their facial expressions to make sure that they're actually telling you if they're in pain or not. All right. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to do horizontal abduction and horizontal adduction. All right? So we're going to do the same thing. You're going to grab her forward, let her arm rest on your arm. We're going to bring her shoulder up, abduct it, and you're going to bring it out. That shoulder abduction. And then you're going to bring it in across her body, and that shoulder adduction. Back out, and in. And you're still stabilizing her at the shoulder here. And back out, and in. All right, so we are going to be doing internal and external rotation. So external rotation, we're going to take her arm out, bring it back into internal rotation. Out to external, back into internal rotation. External and internal rotation. And again, back out and in. All right, so now we are going to be doing the exercises at her elbow. So you're going to want your stabilized hand at the posterior elbow. So that means just hold her elbow on the outside. And then you're going to take your moving hand a little bit below her wrist. So we are going to have her arm bent at her side, and we are going to pull it up to elbow flexion and back down to elbow extension. Up to flexion and back down to extension. Again, up and down. And remember, you're doing all the work. They're just relaxing. Up to flexion, down to extension, up, back down. All right, from here, we're going to do elbow supination and pronation. So you can start off in a neutral position, meaning the thumb is facing up. So we are going to turn her hand down, which is pronation. Elbow pronation. And then you're going to flip it back and have the palm facing up, and that is supination. So we have pronation down, and supination, up, down, up, back down for pronation, and up for supination. You still okay? Still feel okay?
Yep.
All right. So from the elbow, we're going to move down to the wrist. So for the wrist, flip it over. We're going to hold our stabilizing hand right at the distal part of her forearm, which is just right up about where we had it before. So right below her wrist, we're going to have it. And then you're going to take your moving hand and just place it right here on the inside of her hand. And we're going to do wrist extension all the way up and go down for wrist flexion. Back up to extension and flexion. Extension and flexion. And if you like more support, place a pillow under, so it'll be a little bit more comfortable for you. All right. Extension, flexion. And then after that, you're going to do ulnar and radial deviation. So I like to remember radial deviation, your thumb makes an R, so that's your radial side. So you're going to go radial deviation towards the inside of your body, and ulnar deviation is away. So radial deviation, ulnar deviation. Radial, ulnar. Radial, and back to ulnar. Alright, so now we are going to move to the hand. What we are going to do is hold it on the inside like this, and we're going to be doing MCP flexion and MCP extension. So once you have your stabilizing hand supporting the inside of her palm, you're going to flex her fingers, extend them. MCP flexion, MCP extension. Flexion, extension. Back down, bend at the knuckles, and then extend. Again, back up. From MCP flexion and extension, we are going to be going to IP flexion and extension. So basically we're just going to travel a little bit more up the finger. We'll go extension, flexion, extension, flexion. Back up, straighten the finger out, back down, flex. Up and down. Back up and down. One more. There we go. From IP flexion and extension, we're going to go down to CMC, abduction and adduction. So you're going to take the thumb out to abduction and bring it back in to adduction. Abduction, back into adduction. Again, back out, bring it back in. Out and in. So that is all the exercises you'll be doing at the shoulder, the elbow, wrist, and hand. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm good.
All right, and you're comfortable?
Yes.
And you didn't experience any pain?
No.
All right. Well, this wraps up our session, and you did a great job.
Okay, thank you.
All right.